Welcome to Meditate to Create with myself, Saskia V from Von Black Studios, and self-help author and narrative meditation practitioner, Terry Clancy, the TC with Isa. She's very important. She's important in your meditation journey, practice.
It's all about connection, really. Yes.
Oh, and how's your connection with Isa?
Pretty good at this stage. Pretty good. Yes, she's glued to me.
She is glued to you.
But it's about connection with animals. Yes, pets. They call it whispering. You know, like you're a horse whisperer or you're a dog whisperer. It's about connection.
So we could describe Terry as a mental health issue. No, that's not the right way to say it. Mental health practitioner, whisperer. No, also not the right way. What would we call the practitioner of your many, many years of experience with predominantly schizophrenics, as we've discussed in previous episodes? This is episode 3 of Meditate to Create with Terry Clancy. What kind of whisperer in those years would you call yourself, do you think?
Oh, well, you could call it really being a mental health nurse, actually. It was about forming of connection.
But you were a mental health nurse. That's what the actual name is.
Yes.
But you did something a lot more unique and powerful. Not to say anything against being a mental health nurse. It's phenomenal. I mean, he started in 1974.
Yes.
At Wollston Park Psychiatric Unit, where, was it just Wollston Park Hospital?
Wollston Park Hospital, yes, closed in 2001, yes.
Where people were never let out. There was no rehabilitation.
Basically. Yes,
so
correct.
I do think being a mental health nurse in those circumstances is being sort of a hero. But if you were a whisperer at the time, I think you would have been what would we call it? A schizophrenic rehabilitation whisperer.
No, it's connecting with people. You know, there was a famous recovery practitioner, and she said, but mental health services would expand greatly if just people with mental illness were given the same treatment as everyone else, same evidence-based practice as everyone else, which is very true. It's about connecting with people, yes. And that's the art. That's the art of mental health nursing, yes. It's connecting with people who have severe problems, mental health problems, yes. So that's the whispering part. It's not whispering, really. It's about forming connection through your developing, trust and empathy and all that sort of thing, and being authentic, connecting with people and helping them with their issues and problems. Yeah.
He says that like anyone can do it, which we know they can't. So at the time, you seem to, from what we've heard about in episode 1 and 2 of Meditate to Create, you seem to have connected with these people in a much more powerful way than anyone else at the time. Is that, we could say that, right?
Well, yeah, that's my clinical leadership role, yes. Yes.
Okay, so just delving a little bit into that before we move on, because I think what we've covered in episode 1 and 2 is the origin of the narrative meditation practice that you've created in which was in Wollston Park Hospital with these patients and the connection you made with these patients, and how we can sort of take this narrative meditation practice and use it in our everyday lives now.
That's right.
So we will get there, but I think I want to take a little step back to Wollston Park, to the early 90s, where you started having these meditation groups with the patients. And how, because before you, there was no real rehabilitation. And you mentioned previously that this was sort of coming about in the early 90s everywhere, the sort of mental health awareness movement that we see now. But how did your meditation groups grow, and what sort of rehabilitation did you see from when you started these regular groups?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, well, it's quite complicated, really, when you think about it. I started learning meditation myself as a mental health nurse. I went to training at the Relaxation Centre in Brisbane in 1977. Yes, we learned a method. Well, I learned a method of meditation there. And I coached it to patients at the hospital over a period of 10 years, yes. So the practice, I was a beginning level practitioner, a mental health nurse, and I was learning meditation at the same time. They were interacting. Yeah, it's very interesting. They were interacting as processes, really, of gaining self-awareness. And you're using that to connect with people who hadn't formed connection, really, with others or people, or with health practitioners. Hadn't formed this connection. So it was forming this connection, which was the therapy, then working on goals.
So once you form this connection, and we've chatted about Michael in the last episode, you
Michael,
formed a connection with Michael, who was a really complex case, and you were assigned these really complex cases. Would you need to form that connection first, and then you would sit and go through the goals? Or would they sort of, you've got to gain somebody's trust first, right?
Yes, that's right. So most of the patients had paranoid schizophrenia, actually, if you think about it. About 80% had paranoid schizophrenia, chronic paranoid schizophrenia, which is hallucinations, delusions, yes, and generally affecting their lives in different ways. So it was difficult forming connection with people. So yes, with Michael, yes, that was forming that connection as a health practitioner, and helping him, assisting him work on his goals. Once he gained that trust and that therapeutic alliance of connection, is working with him on his goals and using his reasoning. And yes, okay, that's what he wants to do. So so it wasn't about my goals; it was about his goals. Thinking about what he wanted to do. And that's the recovery plan.
When you started out with a patient like Michael, did the narrative meditation process sort of organically happen as you've just explained it? So you first have the connection, then you look at the goals, then you work together. Did that sort of organically happen? Or when you started your meditation, when you started studying meditation in 1977, as you said, was that sort of something that you learned? Okay, this is the way you need to do it. Or was it through your practice with these patients that you developed narrative meditation?
Yeah.
I'm believing it's the latter, right? It organically happened.
So developing practice as a mental health nurse and developing practice, meditation practice, they're interacting as frameworks, using a holistic framework. So yes, with people, okay, what were the people had a mental illness, yes, but okay, what were their physical needs? What are their social needs? What are their spiritual needs? What are their recreational, vocational needs? Holistic approach in developing goals for different dimensions. Yes, it's not to say that they're not my goals; they're the person's goals. That's the narrative.
That's the narrative. So that framework that you developed during that time, would you say that's the same framework that we could use in everyday life today in order to reach our goals?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's probably correct. You think, well, oh yeah, it's a bit weird. But then I think about people like, Ash Barty, Novak Djokovic, Kathy Freeman, you hear these people, or the footballers, they visioned their goals a very long time ago. They visioned how they wanted to succeed in life. And, Ash Barty, after she won the Australian Open, she said, when she was a child, she saw herself winning the Australian Open. She saw it. She had this vision, and then she set her goals to achieve her vision. And then she did it, of course. And you think, well, Kathy Freeman said the same thing, actually, that she saw herself winning that 400 metres at the Olympics a long time before she actually did it. So this is what motivates the champions, achieving their vision.
But now for an everyday Saskia over here, who's not any kind of Olympian, if I just want to, what does everyone want to be? I would just want to be happy. What does that even mean? For the everyday person, because the athletes, they're one in a million. You always just think, it's never going to happen for me. If I just want a good life, can I incorporate this sort of framework into my life to create a meaningful life for me, whatever that means, obviously?
Well, you've got to find that out, yes, using your strengths, yes.
What if I have no strength, Terry?
Oh, well, we all, no, we all do. We all do have strengths. We have strengths, yes. I get back to my patient, Michael.
Oh, yes.
Okay. On the surface, it didn't look too good, really. Forensic history, physical disabilities, chronic paranoid schizophrenia. It didn't look too good, really, but he had his strengths. He was able to use them. Of reasoning, or how do you maintain your health and well-being? He liked exercising. You were talking before about going out in forest. He liked going out into the forest, into the bush, because the hospital had a larger area of bush surrounding. So he'd go out in the bush and connect with nature as his stress management. It's okay, that's good. Using your strengths, what he could do, what we all can do. One day he came back to the ward after he'd been out in the bush, because he'd lie down in the bush sunbaking, and a snake, carpet snake, sort of wrapped around his arm. He only had one arm, you see. And he came back to the ward of the evening, this carpet snake wrapped around his arm, and the nurses were screaming at him, take off the snake off his...
Was this his good arm?
This was his only arm.
His only arm, okay.
Nurses knew he only had one arm, but they were yelling at him to take it off. He said, I can't take it off.
Of course.
So it's all about awareness. It's all about awareness, really.
Mouth.
Under stress, we are not aware of things. So he was using... So I was using what he wanted to do, what he was able to do, exercise, yes, sunbaking, yes, socialising, yes. You could do all these things, even though medically and the clinical picture didn't look too good. No. But yes, I could connect with him and work on his health goals.
Okay, wait, we have to go back to the carpet python. This is a very Brisbane story. Okay, so he's got a carpet python around his arm.
Yes.
He only has one arm, so he can't take the carpet python off.
No.
He runs and screaming. Well, the nurses start screaming. How was he? Were you there when he walked in?
I wasn't there, luckily.
What happened?
So I was a charge nurse, so all the information got fed back to me, and
how did they obviously had to get the carpet python off. How did they do this?
They called the security staff to get it off him.
I also wonder how he got it on his arm. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
He was lying there and a snake came up to him.
He would be lying down, right? Yeah.
And he was encouraging it, of course. He didn't sort of run away. He was just watching it.
Oh, fascinating.
Snake sort of connected with him.
when you meet with people and explore their goals,
what they want to do.
And you then create the narrative together
using
with
their strengths. Yeah.
So you believe that everybody has a narrative in line with their goals in life.
Yes.
And that is the journey.
That's right, yes. Philosophers call it something different, other things, yes. Recovery of identity, yes. Recovery of who you are as a person.
We've heard that before, that it's not, what is that saying? It's not being the best self, it's almost going back to what you are before the world and your experiences fuck it all up, essentially, right?
Yes.
So is it the recovery of yourself?
A sense of self, who you are in the world, yeah. And that's who you want to be.
But what if you just don't know? Then you work...
That's all part of the narrative.
That's all part of the narrative.
We're working that out, yeah.
And does it always work outable who you are?
Of using your strengths and what you want to achieve, like Ash Barty. She had strengths as a tennis player. So she developed her strengths. She had vision of what she wanted to achieve, and she developed her strengths, which was playing tennis. That was her strength. But we all have different strengths, artistic strengths or physical strengths or sporting strengths. It's developing our strengths in different dimensions of life.
So could you use narrative meditation, let's say, in your business practice? If you're an entrepreneur or a corporate, or you could use it for that?
Oh, yeah. That's right. I did a management degree.
On the side there, while he wasn't busy with all that.
So what's organisational development? It's, okay, what's the vision of the corporation? What is it? Yeah, what's the vision? And does the vision guide how the organisation works, how it functions, how all the parts come together? And yes, it does. If you talk to all the, the management consultancies, yes, it's about having the vision of how things, what the organisation is trying to achieve, and how all the parts come together. Yes. So that's what I studied, organisational development at university, yes. You think, well, what's the difference between that and individuals? What's the vision that you're trying to achieve in your life? Ash Barty or Novak Djokovic or Kathy Freeman, what is the vision? How are you going to get there through your goals? Developing ourselves as maximising our potential, different dimensions of life to get there.
But now that's all fine and well. Okay, this is what I want to do.
Overcome huge challenges.
Yes.
Huge challenges.
And you have to do this day in and day out, right? You can't just...
I know.
Okay, I've got my vision.
They got a mindset. All the high achievers have a mindset of their goals. And they're probably sleeping on it and dreaming about it as well.
But now, as a normal person, an average, let's say, not normal, average, everyday life, your mundane sort of life, day in and day out. How can my life be made better by practicing narrative meditation? And is this something that will have to take over my life, or does it just sort of, how do I ask this? Is this something that I can easily, because we're all lazy, actually, can I practice this easily and fit it into my life, essentially, as an average person?
Meditation has been practiced for a very long period of time, right? As either two approaches, devotional practice or mindfulness practice. Okay, so mindfulness is awareness of the present moment. You're developing self-awareness. Yes. So mindfulness meditations are developing self-awareness. So through self-awareness, you can develop your goals and maximize your potential. Yes. So what are your physical goals? What are your social goals? What are your goals as a parent? They're all interacting, and how can you bring it all together? Yeah, that's right. You've got to have self-awareness. Unless you have self-awareness, you can't really develop your goals, really. So as a parent, as a mother or father, what are the goals in your life? This is all about, self-awareness, using your self-awareness.
So you would say self-awareness would be the foundation. Have you met people in your life of practice that just, do you think, oh no, there's just no chance that they're ever going to be self-aware and we just give it up now? Were there people like that you thought, no, there's no point in going down any kind of
people
route?
at different stages of recovery, yes, of developing self-awareness, yes, and how you use it. So I thought I was self-aware when I started practicing meditation, but the guru said, if you think you're self-aware, you're not, actually. Because self-awareness is a way of being that is always developing.
So you can never really be there because you're always
developing.
That's the growth.
Yes.
Damn, growing. Even when it's painful, right?
Yes. So with, I was just talking about developing my meditation practice and developing my mental health nursing practice, and the two were interacting, yes, and I was doing meditation groups with patients. It was about awareness of the present moment. It's developing self-awareness in the present moment. So mindfulness meditation is about what's happening physically, emotionally, mentally, what are you thinking about? So it's awareness of the present moment. So mindfulness meditation is awareness of the present moment, developing mindfulness, yes. So it's self-awareness, you're developing self-awareness. That's the whole point. And people with chronic illnesses, mental illnesses, high degree of self-awareness, no, there wasn't, really. So when I was learning meditation myself, it was about, okay, it was about physical goals. What is your physical self, your social self? What about your recreational goals, yes. So it was developing self-awareness in the present moment. And that's empowering, actually. It's empowering to people who have been diagnosed with a severe illness. It was empowering for them to get to know their identity. So what was recovered was identity as a person through their goals.
And you found at the time that the majority of people were very open to this?
Oh, yes, right.
Was there anyone at the time that you can remember at Wollston Park that was just not interested in any kind of rehabilitation or recovery?
Lots. But that's the process, a different stage of recovery. It's very true. It might take years. Yes. Then eventually, yes, I looked after one patient, yes. He didn't want to know about anything, really. He just wanted to drink coffee and smoke cigarettes, really. And didn't want to be bothered at all.
Okay.
Took about 5 years. Then all of a sudden he got interested in, okay, he wants to go on outings. He wants to go to the gym, Oh, yeah, that's good. And being friendly and getting on with people, So that he got back onto the path of recovery, yes, recovering his life and enjoying himself. And it's not curing. He still had his psychiatric illness, it was still there, but he was managing. He was coping with it. He was getting on with his life, and then the symptoms decreased. He was able to give up smoking. He was smoking 100 a day. He was able to give up smoking through his goals. He told me how he did it, actually, which was good. He'd worked it out. Then his medications could be reduced. His medications reduced by about 50%. because the nicotine was affecting the absorption in his body of the medications.
Oh, fascinating. So the more he smoked, the higher his meds had to be, the more
Yeah.
effect, of
Yes.
course, those meds would have on him.
So all the serum levels, yes, showing that he had high levels of the medications, which weren't good. So the medication, he could be reduced as he reduced his smoking. And of course, he got more energy. He had more energy because the medications were reduced. He had more energy to actually do things. So it was a holistic approach.
That, I was just going to say, that's the holistic nature of things, right? Because everything has an effect.
So treatment and rehabilitation were going hand in hand. So it was about reducing medications down to a good therapeutic level as people recovered.
And that we can look at today, 2024 as an example, because in general health, it's the cause or the symptom sort of effect, right? So I would assume that your view on health and wellness would be to look at the cause, where we could argue that Western medicine often looks at the symptom. It's not really treating the cause, especially in those days with mental health illness. You would be on very high levels of medication, obviously. To only treat the symptom, it's not treating the cause.
There are pretty strict guidelines about medications in psychiatric hospitals. Very strict guidelines.
And today?
I don't know what's happening today, really. See, pharmacy would monitor therapeutic levels of medications, and would notify the doctors and nurses about the dosage levels, what's the reason for this. Everything was monitored. And patients were on, like monthly blood tests to test the serum levels of their medications for any side effects. So everything was tightly managed, yes. And nursing, of course, you were administering medications. You had to be aware of side effects. Anything was happening, anything unusual was changing. And then you're working with the person, think, medications, you want to join the walking group in the morning. Oh, I can't join the walking group in the morning because I don't wake up till midday. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you need your medications reduced in the morning so you can participate in the walking group. So it was changing treatment and the rehabilitation. They were working hand in hand, yes. And then you're participating in your meditation groups. Yes.
So participation.
As a symptom management strategy.
Yeah. Fantastic. So in this, would you say the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was a 0.5% of the total population had a mental health condition.
Severe
Mental health condition, so 0.5.
Yeah.
What would you say today, 2024? What's the date? 20th of August, 2024. What would you say today the percentage would be, not of severe, but of mental health conditions in?
Well, they're saying 1 in 5 people will experience a mental health condition during the course of their lives. That's 1 in 5, yes.
So 20%.
Yes.
Why would you think there'd be such an increase over the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah. Well, it's lifestyle factors, obviously, yes. See, it used to be said that mental illness was genetic. End of story, right? Genetic. But now it can't be said to be genetic with the huge increase in mental illness currently happening. It's not just genetic, it's environment, it's lifestyle. They're probably interacting, yes. So it's lifestyle. What we're doing, how we're living, is increasing stress and so we've got increasing levels of mental illness and suicide rates.
So this fantastic man was smoking 100 cigarettes a day through his goals and his self-awareness.
He wanted to get healthy.
He wanted to get healthy. Was that one of his goals?
Yes.
then it
Yes.
finally, after 5 years, came to you.
He developed some physical conditions which scared him. So he developed these health goals.
That was a bit of a
Because
catalyst
he'd had all
there.
the education about smoking, not good for you, and can cause all sorts of things. Yes, okay, yeah. But then you get physical illness developing. So that sort of motivates you to start looking at your lifestyle goals. And he did.
Fantastic. So a bit of an alternative way to reach his health goals. Would you say that health goals, alternative ways in reaching your health goals or a healthy lifestyle, we always talk about this healthy lifestyle. Would you say alternative ways to reaching a healthy lifestyle would be one of the main reasons to practice narrative meditation? Terry Clancy's narrative
yes.
meditation. Is that one
That's
of your
right.
main?
Yes, that's the whole purpose. Yes, that's right. So as my practice was developing as a recovery-focused rehabilitation mental health nurse, I was practicing meditation, yes, and two were interacting as developing a holistic framework of your practice, right, for your meditation and visioning your goals as experience. So with Michael, was working with his goals, what he could achieve and what he could do. With the gentleman smoking, it was visioning his health goals. It was visioning his goals. The interesting part about Michael too, he learnt about Egyptian mythology, you see, during his time in prison in Longbar Jail. And he learnt about, he told me about Egyptian mythology in our talks and what the pyramids represented and the pharaohs, yes. So it was, I was learning a lot from him actually about mythology, Egyptian mythology, which came in developing my practice of meditation actually. It's a long story, it's a long narrative.
How fantastic.
Yeah, so we learn. We're learning through experience. That's the point. Yeah. So meditation is learnt through, is an art that is learnt through understanding and reflection on experience.
It's almost like your apprenticeship, you know, in these wonderful stories where you become the master. And in your apprenticeship, you have to learn from experience and from your masters. Would you say that during that time, your 38 years at Walston Park, you were mastering your narrative meditation practice per se?
Yes.
With the help of your patients and their stories.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And with the clinical team, with psychiatrists who are head of the clinical team. Yes. So developing that framework of your practice.
During that time. So now, it's been many years. You are retired.
Yes.
Why now are we bringing this alternative, holistic framework? Why now do you think that narrative meditation really needs to be more mainstream and not just for the select few that have experienced it in the past?
Yes, that's right. Shouldn't watch the 6 o'clock news. It's a bit of a horror story. It's distressing, actually, to watch these things, events on news. To me, it's distressing. Then mental illness is coming up very often as a issue, and it's grabbing news headlines more and more. I'm thinking, yes, it's very true, but yes, there are methods of rehabilitation, treatment, yes, but what about prevention? We have to be looking at prevention and stress management and now in lifestyles. That's why I think a narrative approach to meditation is possibly of use to people.
Possibly of use.
Yes.
I think very much of use. But so there's two sides to it, the way that I think. So I also have mental health condition, and I live my life the best that I can, and I live pretty well. you know, as most people would say, no way on the suicide side of things, but I know a lot of people that are close to me that have been on that side. So there are people, I would say, that would just like to either live the best that they can to their fullest potential within their life. But there's also people that are at risk of suicide or are really in trouble that could also benefit, and that probably are on a lot of medication and that could benefit from an alternative route at the same time, right? It's not to say that you are
Complementary, I would say, not alternative.
complementary, and you're using it in tandem. So not to say, oh, you're at suicide risk, please go off your meds and do all of that. No. You're doing this as a complementary.
Take mushrooms or something.
But you believe that there are a huge amount
people
of...
are doing that.
They are, apparently with good, you know. But anyway, okay, so the average person that wants to live their life in the best way possible, the single mum who's getting stressed with two very difficult children, the average husband or father who has to pay exorbitant amounts for house and lifestyle, never mind around the world, but in Australia, definitely. Yeah. Do all these sort of people fit into, yes, you can benefit? Would you say absolutely you can benefit from narrative meditation?
Yes. It's all about cortisol, actually. Yes, the flight or fight response. It's really good for survival purposes, but can become chronic stress. Cortisol produces, raised heart rates, increases our blood pressure, etc. The flight or fight response. It can become chronic. Then we are prone to developing illnesses, physical and mental illness.
Because as a caveman, right, I needed cortisol if there was a woolly mammoth, who knows, coming to attack me, and I need to run away.
So we've acquired this ability to change our physical status.
But we're not supposed to be stressed sort of this stable amount all the time. We're supposed to be stressed to run away from the mammoth.
All the time.
So we haven't evolved past our caveman ways, actually, have we?
Some of us have. Some of us have. So the autonomic nervous system is the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. They need to be in balance. Yes. So meditation deactivates the sympathetic nervous system and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is all pretty standard science. It's all standard.
And that does that then in turn balance them more?
And that reduces cortisol levels. So it's how you do it. How do you do it all?
And would you say that the average human being now has elevated cortisol levels as part of living life?
You've got to think so. You've got to think so, yes. It's stress. It's stress.
Of everyday life. You can't really escape that unless you live on your own in a cabin in the forest, right? Which does sound appealing. No. He does live in a cabin in the forest.
I live in the forest.
Okay, so what we're trying to do is live a healthy, better life, essentially.
Oh, yes.
Even if we don't have specific goals at winning a gold medal in the Olympics, we still want a goal of living a happy life.
Yes. It's got to be happiness, health, well-being and happiness, yes.
Even if it's not all, we can go down this rabbit hole for forever, because you can't just live la happy all the time either. That's not what we're saying. Unless you're Winnie the Pooh, which is Taoism, which actually does sound appealing.
It's about well-being, really. Well-being.
Well-being, that is the word.
Occasional moments of happiness, yes, that'd be good.
Okay, so you've mentioned before, I've seen a quote of yours, I don't know if it's from one of your books, but you've mentioned a much-needed health revolution, which you feel it's sort of your duty to bring this health revolution to the world, as we are clearly not living our best lives, essentially, health or mental health, physical. You mean holistic health, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So can you elaborate on your vision for this revolution and how your narrative meditation fits into this much needed health revolution that you've spoken about?
It's got to be about prevention. The health revolution is about prevention and recovery. Prevention of physical and mental illness and recovery from them. And maximising our potential, different dimensions of life. Yes. So that's the reason why we need a health revolution. We can see governments are putting a lot of money into the health system, and you would think, well, what are the outcomes? You look at outcomes of, physical, mental illness. Okay, we look at increasing numbers of autoimmune diseases, lifestyle-related diseases. Yes, they're increasing, putting the public hospitals under increasing pressure to meet demand. Then you have little epidemics happen every now and again, which are affecting the whole system in delivering health services. So the allocation of resources to where they're needed, ramping, all these sorts of problems, then the health service staff are becoming under stress as well. Doctors are talking about it, the doctors are feeling the stress of the demand and the increasing acuity. So there's increasing severity of illnesses as well. And, as a nurse who worked in the institution, yes, mental health services were mainstreamed. So they became community-based mental health services for looking after people with severe mental illnesses in the community. That became the model. And that puts health services under stress as well. So it's increasing acuity, stress, lifestyle changes. We need to be looking at prevention, and that's where I thought I better start writing about people can access a method of meditation as a method of self-healing.
Absolutely fantastic. The problem, always, with human beings is we can't measure prevention rather than cure because we don't know. Measuring prevention, but we want instant gratification. So my husband still smokes 20 cigarettes a day, and unless he gets lung cancer like tomorrow, he's just never going to stop because it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah, not going to happen to me.
It's not going to happen to me. So I'm someone, generally, I would say 80% of the time, that follows the prevention rather than cure, but not 100% of the time.
Oh, no. We need treatments at times, yes.
But I also sometimes know that this is bad for me, but I'm going to do it anyway because you still have... I'm an optimist, you see. So I think it won't happen to me. So do you believe that for this kind of health revolution, for something to be a real revolution, you would need the majority of people in the world to really be on board and to better themselves and to prevent their illness and to live healthily? Yes. Do you think we're there yet in 2024?
No, we're a long way from that. I think a lot of, self-help movements, all different groups and techniques that people are developing are good. People immersing themselves in cold, freezing water, people exercising more, which is good. Mm-hmm. People doing yoga and all different therapies are really good about improving their health and well-being. It's all good. Practicing meditation is good. You practice yoga.
Yes.
And you do your meditation.
Yes.
As part of practice.
As part of, that's it. So it's not sort of a... a one-fits-all approach, which is the same with you. So you're sitting with somebody, or through your practice, it's about the person wanting to better themselves through your practice. But that's, of course, depends on the person and what their goals are, which you've mentioned many times.
That's right.
If I'm somebody sitting at home, far away, doing your meditation practice, how am I going to figure out my goals? Is that through the practice? You work through that?
That's the practice. Yes.
Okay.
So you develop self-awareness through your goals of healing. So relaxing the body is a goal. So you're developing awareness of your physical self as you relax your body as part of your meditation, as you calm your emotions. As a goal, you're becoming aware of your emotions. As you still the flow of thoughts, you're becoming aware of your thoughts. You're developing self-awareness through your health goals. That's the method.
What advice would you give an individual who is seeking to start their journey? So you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, shit, I want to do this now. I want to start this journey. What advice would you give somebody who wants to start their journey in meditation and to achieve self-actualization? What advice would you give somebody right now?
Right now, meditation is an art that is learnt through understanding and experience. It's like it's experience, talking about how you become an expert in something. So it's, musician, you practice your scales, you start at the beginning levels and you develop a greater level of proficiency in whatever you're doing. That's the art, through understanding and experience, and you're applying it, hopefully, in your life. Yes, that's the difficult part at times. So it's starting through steps. Meditation is learnt in steps.
And that's your approach, your narrative meditation. So meditate to create is going through the steps. And it's not just, okay, meditate every day. Because a lot of these things are like that. They're, okay, meditate every day, cool.
Yeah.
How's that going to change my life? I mean, it does.
I've seen it happening, yes. Like I go to the grandson's karate classes. Okay, when they're naughty or not distracted, okay, go in the corner and meditate. Thinking, oh yeah, what are they doing? I don't think they have any idea what they're doing, actually. But it's a reflection. It's just to reflect on things. That's all it means. That's that mindfulness, yes.
And do I have to wait for a specific time in my life to start something like this? When is the best time to start the narrative meditation journey?
I think it should be started as soon as possible, yes. As soon as possible, as soon as a child can understand things, yeah. So, okay, practicing breath control. Simple things, breath control, yes, and muscle relaxation. And doing a meditation on your state of relaxation and breath control, yes. It's a simple thing, simple techniques that it's been shown to balance the autonomic nervous system. It deactivates the sympathetic nervous system and activates the parasympathetic system.
I'm doing funny breathing now. Can you hear?
Yes. So it's been taught for a very long time. Yogic breathing. So these are the steps of practicing exercises, meditation exercises. And as well as the physical effects of balancing your autonomic nervous system, reducing that cortisol kicking in, it's about understanding. The meditation exercises are about understanding what meditation is. It's your goals. So you're practicing breath control, okay, and relaxation. What is the meditation is actually on the goal of relaxation.
Is that how your narrative meditation differs from, I mean, there's so many forms of meditation. Is it because the goals are so much a part of it?
Yes.
Would you say that would be
That's
your...
right.
differentiator
Yes.
in terms of narrative
yes.
meditation.
So I've talked to many people who have been to mindfulness meditation groups, and they didn't get it. They didn't understand it, what it was all about. Right? They didn't get the meaning and purpose of what they were doing. So, okay, right. So, sort of narrative approach is, okay, your goal is, first off, relaxation, breath control and relaxation. That's your goal at that level. At that level of meditation, that's your goal. You think, well, what is this relaxation bit? What is this? It's your mind creating your experience.
Terry, thank you. As always,
Thanks, Saskia. It's been a real pleasure, a really good experience. Yeah.
It's fantastic talking
I'm learning
to you.
stuff.
He's funny. So listen, if you want to be your best self, if you think you deserve more in life, if you want to achieve more, if you want something more, something different in your life, and you might think, oh God, no, it's not the perfect time. I've got 2 young kids. I have my job. This is not the time. It's coming later. No, there is no later. There's only now. It's mindfulness. It's now. It's be here now. Now is the time. Now is the time to achieve it. Now is the time to start to change it. If you believe that you want a better life, this program really could be for you. We can't wait to see you next time, episode 4, where we delve into Terry's retirement with Isa. She's very important in that episode. And his amazing alternative life, living in the forest. We wish we could all do. But seriously, get in touch. We can't wait to hear from you.